Apparently, you know, in the workplace, you shouldn't throw knives.
He's threatened to steal it several times.
Absolutely.
He has, yeah. But that is such a cool costume piece.
I love going back to Dune Castle, which is Lyon. It's so cool. We were there actually the other day. I love castles in general, but this one's extra cool. And there's bats there. We have to be really aware of the bats because they hibernate there. And we have bat hour where we have to turn all the lights off because we can't disrupt their hibernation pattern. Any day that we're outside on location, I get really excited by because you get so much for free. You don't have to imagine anything because you're really there. And I think the weather can be brutal, but it can also really help because it grounds you and you don't have to do any acting.
I love the bridge where Marinelle and meet. I think that's just one of the coolest places, and we'd love to go back there at some point for whatever thing, please, Matt. Because it's just like in the middle of nowhere. You can't get to it normally without special permits and things, and you literally think this bridge had been built for the purpose of filming something there, but it's 100% real. It was shot quite early, and yeah, maybe like a month.
Yeah, it was definitely the first few weeks. It was block one, and the weather was terrible that day. We waited for hours to be able to shoot that scene because the wind was so crazy and it was raining and it was freezing cold. We were literally like, we were blue, our hands were blue. You could barely, we got back into the tent to eat. He couldn't eat because his face was frozen.
Genuinely.
Could barely get the words out.
I did a scene with Jamie in season 1. We're going to save Ellen, and that was such a beautiful setting, and it was so remote that you had to walk sort of 25 minutes up to get there, and there was no loos or anything. We were properly in the middle of nowhere, and that was pretty special.
There's one location which I keep having to go to. If they're doing shots of me riding and stuff, they're actually military vehicles. They're tracked. They're like little tanks. We have to get in those to get up to the location. They're like amphibious tanks. They're awesome. Let's go, yeah, we get to go some cool places, man. It is absolutely the best part of the job. That and learning about all the history and stuff.
That was kind of you to see me home safely.
The weather is extremely unpredictable.
When you go into the scenes, you have an idea of maybe like how it's going to be shot and things like that. And then sometimes they'll move things, right? So like they'll change it from being inside somewhere into like an interior to an exterior. And that honestly does really, really change things, because if we're shooting, you know, in the middle of winter or something and it's cold, then that's going to affect, well, one, your performance, but two, like as the character would be, maybe be a wee bit more aware of that. And then the rain as well, it definitely adds something to it, like a grittiness. Like one of the days, which I remember quite vividly, was in episode 4, I think, when Brian and Julia go on the carriage to
You were
Leo.
battered that day.
And oh my gosh, like we filmed that for a few days, but it was so heavy rain. And I don't think you can necessarily tell quite when you watch it, because maybe we got like a little bit of dryness in between spells. But man, Hermione and I were drenched that day and we were shivering, and that definitely lends itself into feeling like, oh wow, these guys are in Scotland and it's cold and barren.
The annoying thing is you can't often see the rain on screen, so people don't know how we suffer.
Yeah, right.
Because, you know, obviously hair and makeup are so amazing as well at keeping us looking good, but it's kind of annoying when you spend an hour in hair and makeup and then you get outside and it's raining and kind of right, okay, well, I guess my hair is straight now.
This was the first bit from this season.
Yes. The stones, so the actual standing stones are made out of, I think, polystyrene, maybe something else.
Yeah, sorry to ruin that.
But they were taking off from the ground.
We had flying standing stones, basically, but where the wind was so strong. Literally just gone.
Yeah.
So we had to quickly switch to shooting something else that day.
It's also quite nice shooting in the elements because it is so wild. We're meant to be out in the Scottish Highlands, so you can lean into it performance-wise. It's kind of nice.
And it's quite dramatic, like the weather. I mean, like, I know it's a nightmare for the person who has continuity. So if they've got to make sure that your hair looks exactly the same each shot, and it's just like going mad. But I think it adds a sort of, you know, it's dramatic. And it means as actors, you know, if we were in a green screen box having to pretend that that was happening with someone blowing a leaf blower at us, which happens, it's great. We don't have to act it.
I did take one from the last season, and I can talk about it now. Or maybe not in work. But when Brian and Ellen get hand-fasted the strip of kilt from Brian's own kilt, I said to my costumer, Linnea, I said, so we just grassed her in. I said, what would happen if just disappeared? And she said, what would disappear? And I was like, So now I have it draped over my bookshelf, and it's very, very nice piece of Fraser tartan, because it was a lovely scene. It was one of my favourite scenes that we filmed all season, so it's nice to have a wee reminder. You took something.
Well, I got jealous when I found out you'd got the actual hand-fasting kilt. So I looked around for anything I could take and I grabbed 2 stones off the floor of the chapel.
Have I kept a prop
I haven't. I've never done this on a film set. I don't know if I'm just too shy about it. I don't know. Have you ever taken a prop?
No, not really. I'd love my dirk, which is the sort of knife thing. Oh, so actually, funny story. I've now been told I'm not allowed to get that out in between takes. But I play with it, and I've got really good at, when we're on location, throwing it and getting it to land directly in the grass and getting it to I've got really good at that. And now I've had, I got told off first time, second time, third time, and now I've been told I'm not even allowed to take it out the scrap.
Like a child. They're going to glue it in next time.
I know, but I keep sneaking off because I'm like, yeah, man, I'm getting really good at this. But apparently, in the workplace, you shouldn't throw knives. It's woke nonsense gone mad, mate.
Brian's costume, I think, is the coolest jacket we see in the season. And the amount of people who have watched the show and said something, or one of the actors, and be like, oh, that's a nice jacket. How'd you get that? Like, is there copies of that?
It's a great jacket.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Tony Curran. He's threatened to steal it several times.
Absolutely.
He has, yeah. But that is such a cool costume piece. Like, and wearing that really does, because it's heavy, really, really heavy. So wearing that totally changes for me. Like, oh, I put that on. Okay, that's Brian. We're here.
20s women's stuff as well it's all like drop waist. It's not really clenching at the waist. It's all very kind of loose fitting.
You get to breathe.
Breathe.
And have breakfast.
Whereas when you're in 1700s, everything's corseted and tight, and the size of your corset then determines how big your jacket is. So like you have to be a certain shape to put on the jacket. So yeah, it's like, I'd say better for your posture.
So this is quite a coarse wool fabric with lots of wear and lots of patches.
I love doing the flashback days. They've literally made it out of exactly the same materials that it would have been made. So to our sort of modern, sort of soft, sensitive skin, it's incredibly itchy.
Yeah,
so I'm like wearing other socks underneath my woolen socks and stuff.
Stop the rashes.
Well, darling,
Yeah. But they also, the materials the Trish, the costume department uses so beautiful. Like, I had this like silk from Paris they were using to make some stuff for season 2 the other day, and I was like, that is so beautiful.
What's the funny thing I found? The bum rolls.
Oh yeah.
There's whole boxes, and it just says small bum rolls, medium bum rolls, large bum rolls.
Yeah. So you wear a corset in the 1700s, and you wear this like bum roll, which basically just like gives you the shape of like a bum. It's the women's. It's like the desirable silhouette of that time.
I love Seamus's. I love them to pieces. I was saying, I've always wanted a brother. I have a sister, and I've always wanted a brother as well. Not instead of. I love her to pieces. But I feel like I've gained 2 brothers in Seamus and Sam. Every day on set with them is so much fun. We have such a laugh, which is kind of necessary, I think, because a lot of our scenes are really heavy. So you have to find the lightness outside of the scene. But yeah, they're great. I love our scenes together, and I hope we have more. I was quite sad at the end of season 1 because it feels like a very final goodbye, and I was selfishly really upset, thinking that we wouldn't have any more scenes together ever again, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Mine be unexpected.
Shattered.
It doesn't take too long, but they do have to find their way back, and the place that Henry has to find his way back from. I mean, I saw my costume for the start of season 2 and couldn't for the life of me think why I would be wearing that. That was before I'd seen the script.
Relentless.
Unified.
Well, we're getting the scripts as we go.
We know 1 to 8 by now.
No, 1 to 8 at the moment.
Yeah.
It's going to be tricky, though, because Claire obviously thinks that we're dead, and we have to sort of stick to that. I've just been talking to our showrunner and writer, Matt, the other day, saying, can we please do more like, let's see them be happy at home. We need that, because like we need to know, like, okay, if these people are this like desperate to get back to each other, why? And that shows you why. Like, they were just this perfect, lovely match.